Hi, welcome to Talking and Reading from Japan by Hidemi Woods. I'm your host, Hidemi Woods. Here, I read episodes from the books I wrote and talk about them or anything I feel like talking to you. I hope you enjoy with me. Today, I will read an episode from one of my books titled The Girl in Kyoto. This book is one of my memoirs I wrote, and every episode is actual experience of mine. Today's episode is called New Year's Special Feast. This is about my family's traditional meal that we ate during the New Year's holiday. New Year's special treat. New Year is the biggest holiday in Japan. There is a traditional meal for it, which is called osechi. It's assorted foods of beans, boiled vegetables, boiled fish, and steamed fish paste, boxed in layered containers. The kinds of an assortment are slightly different at each family according to the family tradition. My family's traditional osechi was absolutely terrible. The assortment consisted of only 3 kinds of food: boiled carrots, boiled burdocks, and black soybeans. That's it. We even didn't have to buy them except for black soybeans because they were grown in our family's field. It was accompanied by miso soup that had sticky rice cake and big taro in it. Big taro was grown in our front yard, and my family held a superstition that you would become head of something by eating it in the new year. Unfortunately, it's huge and painfully tasteless. As a child, I always wondered how they could call them a New Year's special feast since our daily meals were better. To conclude the feast, we drank special tea. A cup of Japanese tea with a pickled plum sunk in the bottom. As another superstition, my family believed that it would bring happiness, but it tasted horrible and made me unhappy right away. And then, what I thought couldn't be any worse hit the new bottom. On one New Year's Day, there was a new addition to our traditional meal. It was called kuwai and looked like a chestnut with a sprout. My mother heard that eating it in New Year made you sprout to the world. It became her new superstition, and my father began to grow it in the front yard. It tasted utterly awful. If primitive people found it in the woods and tried it, they would certainly dismiss it as inedible. Although I had endured the terrible feast until I left home, I'm not head of anything, nor do I sprout to the world. That was today's episode. The New Year holiday is the biggest holiday in Japan. And our family celebrated it with the special meal for 3 days. It's from January 1st to January 3rd. So every day, as breakfast, we ate that special feast. But our family's traditional special feast was far from what is called feast, because it's so terribly it was unbelievably taste so bad and so miserable, although it's New Year. And I really hated it. And although I looked forward to the New Year, the only thing I felt so unhappy about it was every breakfast during the New Year's holiday, because our family's osechi was coming. Maybe because I grew up in Kyoto, that was the west part of Japan, and it's a very an old city, a historical city, and so the tradition is relatively old as well. So maybe that was part of the reason why our family's traditional New Year's feast was so outdated and old style. And also because my family was a farmer, and so vegetables were everywhere, both on our family's fields and in our front yard. So to my family, it's the ingredients are so handy. We didn't have to go shopping for the traditional feast. We just needed to pick them up and cook it. That's it. But lately, Japanese people style to celebrate that New Year's meal has changed dramatically. they eat very expensive osechi. It's an annual big sale for supermarkets or restaurants, and they make a reservation for it and have it delivered to their home. And it's really expensive, and it costs usually around $100 to $300, and it's basically it's a boxed lunch, and a box, 2 or 3 boxes are layered, and each box is separated by a small section, and each section holds a small amount of special expensive delicatessen, and it's a variety of it's an assortment of something expensive that we don't have so often on a daily basis. So it has usually it has shrimp or some seafoods or expensive ham or anything like that. But in my family, we had never had something like that fancy assortment box. We just, as I said, we just picked some carrots and burdocks from the field, and my grandmother and my mother boiled them and sprinkled some sesame seeds, and that's it. See, as you imagine, it's tasteless completely. And my family's feast was also formed by as layered boxes, but it's 3-layered, and it had 3 boxes, but it didn't. Each box wasn't divided by a section because it didn't have to. One kind in one box. So there were no variety in our boxed assortment. So we didn't have to separate by section. And so there were 3 boxes, and one box was a sea of carrots, and second one was sea of burdocks, and the third one was just black soybeans that my grandmother boiled and simmered in sugar and water. So black soybeans uh, were the best one among other things during um, New Year's in my family. And I just, beside the boxed assortment feast, um, um, there was a cup of miso soup. And that was another torture for me because it tasted terrible as well. Miso soup was okay, but the contents are the problem. What the it's called ozoni in Japanese, and the sticky rice cake is called mochi. That's the that's okay relatively, depending on miso soup's taste. But taro is a big problem. It's too big to be simmered by any tasteful ingredients. So it's just it, it was too big in the first place. So it's like a contest or a torture to finish it. But my family was so superstitious for everything, and so especially the New Year was important to superstitious people like my family because it decides everything for the whole year. So if you cry during the New Year, you will cry for the whole year. So if you say it's terrible while you are eating, you will say it over and over again during the whole year. So no matter how bad it tasted for me, I couldn't say it because it's a bad omen. So while I was eating such a bad taste food in my mouth, I had to be smiling as if I were happy. And finishing a big taro took so much time for breakfast. And I just, why I should endure this torture in the most celebrative event of the year, like New Year. That was the biggest question, one of the biggest questions I had in my childhood. And but as a superstitious, especially my mother was so superstitious. So she urged me to finish a big taro or that terrible, awful kawaii, because that would make me successful for anything. Eating taro meant becoming ahead of something. Eating kawaii meant sprouting to the world. My mother firmly believed it. So she pretty much ordered that I should finish it. And every year I followed her instruction and finished it while I was crying in my mind. On the face I was smiling, but it was such an agony to finish my New Year's special feast. And then look, right now, although I endured those things for the entire my childhood, I hadn't sprouted in the world for anything. I am nobody. I'm not ahead of anything, anywhere. So I just eating those terrible, horrible, bad taste New Year's special feast meant just torture for me. It turned out to be this way. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed with me. If you are interested in anything else I created, like my music or my books, you can visit my website, hidemiwoods.com, HIDEMI woods.com, where you can find all links to my songs, my books, my blogs, my podcasts, my audiobooks, anything, even my even merchandise that I designed and that features my own illustrations. So if you like, visit there. Well, thanks again. Thanks for listening. I'm Hidemi Woods. Until next time, take care and be well.